really an important key here that I think a lot of people are missing when it comes to building a business from scratch or building a business just in general. All right. Do stuff that is not scalable. Doing stuff that is not scalable, meaning that the stuff that you sit there and you go, oh my God, I'm only making one call or speaking to one person. Or, oh, I'm sitting there sending one thank you note. Or, oh, I'm going ahead and dealing with one investor or one person that's a buyer or one whatever the heck that it may be. That's the stuff that's not scalable. You can't build this machinery in there to go ahead and scale it and suddenly have a million investors that you're talking to or a million prospects that you're talking to right that second. In the beginning stages of a business, you must do stuff that is not scalable. That stuff that is not scalable, that's the fuel for the stuff that later comes into play and becomes scalable. So I call it the uglies, the smalls, the mediums, the bigs. In the beginning stages, it's kind of like having an old time car where you would have to crank it to go ahead and suddenly get that motor going after cranking it for God knows how long. Or the old prop airplanes, before there were jet engines or automatic starters, you'd have to crank it and wind it up in order for it to go. It's the same thing with business. You have these uglies in the beginning stages where these sales or these people or these processes don't necessarily fit. It's not scalable. It's kind of ugly. You're figuring it out. Then the smalls happen, these smaller sales, the smaller type of relationships, the stuff that you can't really necessarily build a business upon, but you're able to get that momentum going. Then the mediums and the bigs start coming into play in an unknown amount of time and stuff starts taking off on its own and growing. But it only grows when you do the stuff that's not scalable in the beginning. When I first had Osolo Foods, I was literally the person that was making the muffins, putting them in my car, putting the air conditioning on during winter, and driving up to northern Pennsylvania to go ahead and put them in the frozen food section. Not scalable. Flash forward 6 to 12 months later, and yeah, we've got multiple lines and multiple factories and everything else churning out 1,000 units a minute. That's scalable. So in the beginning stages, you have to do the stuff that is not scalable, that ugly stuff that really you're sitting there going, well, how is this going to grow? Because that's the stuff that leads to the scalable path. So again, do stuff that is not scalable. Really.